And we are live. Thank you, John, for reminding me to turn my feedback off because I'm sure I would have heard myself just now. Welcome, everybody, to this week's Café Hangout in the Post Wrestling office. I'm getting confused. Post Office
West.
Post Office, Post Wrestling Cafe.
It's all the same.
All right.
How are you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. I am...
This is the last show I'm going to have a voice for today. I don't know how you did all three last week with the Up Next combo. I got Up Next this week. And then you and I just ended up chatting for 3 hours about 1998 for whatever reason. We should have recorded it. And now we're doing this show.
I mean, yeah, no, I think you and I will get used to it. It's just kind of what other job do people talk this much for, I guess?
Imagine hosting like morning show and you're on the air for, but I mean, you get
like Howard Stern, what he used to do, like a show every single day.
Right? Yeah. But I also feel like you have commercial breaks built in, you get a break, you get like a recharge. Mm-hmm. Like we just go, we hit record and we are talking nonstop.
Thursdays, especially I would say are kind of like the days where we cram everything, especially if we got Up Next,
Yeah, when it's like 3 shows in one day, those are the ones where you feel it. And today's show of the Cafe Hangout, we have a few announcements to make. We have a lot of news to catch up on over the past day or so. No guests today. We're just going to kind of dedicate it to calls and chatting the news.
You guys are our guests today.
You guys are always the guests. So if you'd like to dial in on Skype, you can just search us. Just look for Post Wrestling. We're easy to find on Skype. And you can Skype in at any time as well as call in at any time.
Yeah, so Skype, of course, is completely free to call. Just download the app or whatever Skype on your computers. Search for Post Wrestling. But if you have access to a phone in the U.S.,
you can dial in at 732-800-4423. That is 732-800-4423. We'll be going to calls whenever we get them. So feel free to call in at any point over the next hour.
Colin Henderson in the chat room is informing us he's a teacher. He talks for 4 to 6 5 to 6 hours.
Teachers have unbelievable stamina.
You have us beat, that's for sure.
Yes. My mom was a teacher, and she would tell me like it can be exhausting. Like you imagine doing that for not just the fact that you're around probably young children that have hyper energy throughout the day, but then you have to communicate to them. Like that's I think teaching is a very underappreciated profession.
It's how old did your mom teach?
It ranged. She taught all over elementary school.
Because like when it comes to younger kids, it's kind of like half babysitting and then half trying to while you're babysitting, making sure that they leave your class with life lessons, and that's a very tough task. So much respect to all the teachers out there.
Well. What do you want to start off with? Do we have a few announcements to make?
Yeah, actually, before we kind of get going, I wanted to make mention of a couple contests that we have coming up here. And I'm announcing them here first on the Post Wrestling Cafe. The first of which, of course, the New Japan Cup brackets are out. This is New Japan Pro Wrestling's annual single elimination tournament. This year, it's a 32-man tournament. And as such, we are putting on a little contest of our own, a little predictions contest. This is March Madness, but in a wrestling sense. And thank you very much again for Chris Engler to set this up. We have postwrestling.com/NJCup is where you can submit your brackets, and everything's listed there. Please, we know that David Finley was currently announced to be missing this show, but whoever his replacement is, just replace David Finley with that name. Fill out your brackets, submit them, and add your name under prediction title, I've been told to say. So entries are going to be accepted until the first date of the New Japan Cup. We will be giving out prize to the winner and to the runner-up items from the Post Wrestling store. So congratulations in advance for people who do well, and that's it. Sorry, I'm just all over the place. There's so much shit going on. Our second contest. This one is a bit more immediate. This is our MSG selfie promo contest. You and I have done like selfie promo contests in the past where we've invited people to cut promos and submit them to us. But this year we actually have an incredible prize. One of our listeners, he's also an executive producer. His name is Joe LeBeau. He purchased tickets to the Madison Square Garden show from New Japan and Ring of Honor occurring during WrestleMania weekend. However, his plans have thus recently changed, and he won't be able to make the show. This show is sold out, and he's got 2 extra tickets that he wanted to offer to some of our listeners. So the best way we could think about to give these tickets away was to put on a selfie promo contest. So we are asking you, if you want these tickets to the G1 Supercard show in New York, in 30 seconds, tell us why you want to face Jay White at Madison Square Garden.
Why you want to face Jay White at Madison Square Garden?
Yes, cut a promo on Jay White.
So in theory, you would have to. You are bypassing the New Japan Cup.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So email your entries to info@postwrestling.com. I mean, obviously, there are plenty of other ways that you can reach us as well. But we suggest that you send your videos to info@postwrestling.com or your links to your videos. Next week on this show, we will get Joe on the line to help us judge and pick a winner. So you have 1 week to send those. The deadline will be Thursday of next week.
All right, let's go to the phone lines. And who is this calling? Are you there, caller?
Going once, going twice.
No call.
No call, unfortunately. Call back again. Maybe we're having some technical issues, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the 2 contests.
Yep. Yes, and if you want to go to postwrestling.com, the top buttons there, you can click through to get to the contest, submit your picks, and we will be announcing the winner at the end of the tournament.
Yeah,
which starts off next week on Friday with a 32-man tournament. We're going to try this caller one more time. Are you there, caller?
Hey.
Hello.
Yes.
I just wanted to talk about Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
Before we do that, could you mind just turning down the volume of us?
Yes. No problem.
What's your name, man?
Oh. Before we do that, I'm trying. I'm really trying. They won't turn down. I'm not sure why.
Is there no volume on your computer that you can just hit mute on? Fuck.
Oh, Gene. Oh, there, I got it.
All right.
Alrighty.
Who's this calling?
I love
a long
radio.
time. Well, it doesn't match so, but I think Daniel Bryan is coming to his own. Like, this is what he's been wanting his whole career, and it's amazing what he's accomplished. What do you think?
Coming into his own as a heel, or what do you mean? Because he's been in his own for a long time, I would say.
Well, I mean that he's finally become the world champion that we've kind of always wanted him to be.
He's definitely in the midst of a really, I think, strong character run at the moment. And I think that this obvious change in plans for WrestleMania, I think it gives him a hotter program than what the original plan was. I mean, if we see this Kevin Owens match go through, I think we're all expecting now that it's going to be Kofi Kingston in that spot. That gives him a really strong babyface to work with. And that's kind of been the hidden ingredient in this Daniel Bryan run, has been, that concern that, is this guy going to be so entertaining that the fans turn him? And that certainly wasn't the case with AJ Styles. And now you have a babyface in Kofi Kingston that I think it's going to be similar, that they are going to be backing the babyface, and Daniel Bryan can just be an excellent heel leading into it. So I think that this has turned out very well for Bryan's WrestleMania program. That's happened by complete coincidence that Kofi has landed in this role.
I certainly feel like, expectations for this Daniel Bryan heel run have been completely exceeded. Like when he first turned heel, I mean, I think like everybody has enough confidence in the guy to know that he had something, he would do really well. But I certainly couldn't foresee how well this character, this anti-materialistic character, has taken off. And certainly now with a baby face like Kofi Kingston working with him, I think it could be really taken to the next level. So, if caller, if you're saying like he's really kind of achieving what he's always wanted to, you could be right. I certainly already kind of grade this as, maybe creatively my favorite run of his, maybe even more so than, you know, his WrestleMania 30 run.
Well, I would agree, because that seemed like it was something that nobody really wanted as far as the company. So he's really achieved more than I thought he would ever be able to achieve after those setbacks.
Yeah, I agree. And thank you very much for the call. I think that you can certainly look at where he was 6 months ago versus today. And that turn, I think, was instrumental in him finding his footing since he came back, because he was not lighting the world on fire last summer.
No. Like, the matches, I would say, weren't great. I would say, you know, you can kind of blame whoever. But I would say his return as a babyface was somewhat underwhelming, you know?
Just given the fact that the return was so unexpected that you figured you can ride this wave for months of just the novelty of him being back. And they wore that out quick.
Yeah,
they wore it out really quick. I mean, the first program was Big Cass. So there was certainly issues going around there.
But I mean, I'm sure Brian himself recognized that. And, you know, again, like, from all accounts, it seemed like he was the one who requested this heel turn. And clearly he wouldn't have done it unless he had some great ideas. And clearly he did.
So my understanding was that the decision to do this switch involving Kevin Owens was made at some point last week to go with this. And it wasn't flat out told to me that they're doing Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston, but like, it was described to me as a switch. And I'm expecting it to be Bryan and Kingston. I guess
not a triple threat.
Well, I think that you can leave the door open, that if something happens, like, they could somehow involve them. But I would say that I feel pretty confident that Kofi Kingston is involved in that main event. Like, I think that's fairly obvious from watching the television. Another thing we can talk about, Dave Meltzer mentioned this on his Wrestling Observer program, and I have heard the same, and that's that Tommaso Ciampa is dealing with some kind of an injury at the moment, and it seems like that has adjusted plans this week. The severity of this injury, we don't know, but obviously that could throw in a number of potential issues that they have to deal with, given Ciampa, you would figure, is going to be in a major match at TakeOver, presumably with Johnny Gargano. They've also just been called up to the main roster. So I think that it's going to be tough, because the TV has not aired yet for NXT, that if it's a significant injury, they probably want to keep it quiet until they have an idea of what to do and when all this stuff airs on television, because it kind of defeats kind of some of the programming they've already taped for NXT. It's very tough, but again, like, I don't know how severe the injury is. And like, it was told to me that, like, he had been working through this, and the hope was he could work through WrestleMania with it. And now I guess that's where they're at now, figuring, can he or not?
You know, again, there's never a good time to be injured, but especially now, I would say maybe seems like the worst time for Tommaso Ciampa to finally have his injuries catch up to him, because he's being featured on Raw and on SmackDown and on NXT, getting the most, you know, exposure he's ever had in his career, set to, from all accounts, you know, take part in a major match at TakeOver as the NXT champion.
Which you have to imagine is the priority at the moment is, it's not so much getting him back onto TV right now. It's let's make sure you can do TakeOver. And if you can't do that, then that's obviously, that throws a lot of plans out the window.
You know, but I will say, like, it's not like, you know, NXT hasn't dealt with this before, you know, like, they've changed things on a whim due to injury, and I think we can all accept it. Maybe the silver lining is that he won't have, you know, this weird main roster debut occur, and that by the time he actually is healed and ready to go, they will take proper care for him and Gargano.
Yeah, so we'll continue to monitor that, and hopefully, you know, get an update. And you know, it's just, I don't know what the severity is. We have another caller. Who is this caller? Was it something I said?
Jeez. I don't know if it's our phone lines or what, but let's try this one. Oops. Okay.
All right. Well, we will continue to battle with the phone system. Let's move on. There's a few other. Oh, there's a lot of news going on at the moment. The Shield. Roman Reigns is expected to be back on Raw on Monday, and it seems like the idea was that they're either going to do a 3-on-3 or a 4-on-4 match. I would presume that would be at Fastlane. But one of the issues is still Seth Rollins, who, again, Dave Meltzer reported that he has been cleared for limited physical involvement at the moment, but not a full clearance yet. So I guess everything is kind of, cognizant on Seth being fully cleared before you can set that match up. But that would seem to make the most sense for Fastlane to do a Shield reunion. And as of Monday, they were just debating if it would be 3-on-3 or 4 versus 4.
It makes sense to me. I think now is really the only time you can do it. And I'd be very curious to see where they put Roman afterwards for Mania.
One more time, we are going to the phone lines. Who is this calling?
Eric from Sudbury. Can you guys hear me okay?
Eric, we can hear you. How are you?
Oh, perfect. Great. How's it going?
We're doing pretty well. Who do you think Roman Reigns should be matched at WrestleMania with? Who makes the most sense this many weeks out?
Oh, were you asking me?
Yeah. I'm putting you on the hot seat
here.
No
idea. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's quite the hot seat. I didn't even know he was cleared, to be honest with you. I was calling to ask about the UFC card. I guess I'm not keeping in touch with my wrestling enough.
Well, let's chat about UFC then.
Yeah, it's a really exciting card. Top to bottom, I think this is the best one of the year so far. That's fair to say, yeah.
Definitely. I think it's the deepest card. I'm really looking forward to this pay-per-view on Saturday.
Do you want to run through it quickly, John?
We can't. Well, what are you looking forward to, Eric?
Oh, man, I'm excited for so much. The first thing that pops into mind is probably Robbie Lawler versus Ben Askren. You know, it's an exciting stylistic matchup. We haven't seen Askren at the top level, and I think a lot of us want to see what Robbie Lawler has left in the tank, too.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of questions with Robbie Lawler. I think this is a very big test for Ben Askren, that if he can, Robbie Lawler has outstanding takedown defense. That was a big asset that he had with Johnny Hendricks. Johnny Hendricks was able to get him down near the end, but I think that this is certainly that's going to be the test for Ben Askren, because standing with Robbie Lawler, I mean, that becomes Robbie Lawler's fight.
Yeah, we've seen Ben Askren get hit before too on the feet against lower level opponents, but we'll see what happens. This is definitely an exciting one. Robbie's coming off that big injury that's had him out for over a year, so very exciting fight.
Yeah, I mean, some of the undercard fights as well. I think Jeremy Stevens and Zabit Magomed-Sharapov, that's a very big fight.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big
Misha Serkinov and Johnny Walker.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny Walker beats a Misha Serkinov. He gets catapulted in that light heavyweight division, and I think he leapfrogs several potential contenders and is right in that upper mix, because, man, once we're looking post Anthony Smith, I mean, it's pretty dire when it comes to light heavyweight contenders at the moment that are realistic for John Jones. Like, Johnny Walker becomes in a really interesting spot.
Yeah, there's definitely some, for the first time in years, there's actually some movement at light heavyweight. We got guys like, you said, Johnny Walker, Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, and Volkan Ozdemir, Dominic Reyes. So there's some exciting prospects, but none of them feel like they're ready for John Jones at this point. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. I don't think any of them would be... any arguments would be made for them, but that's kind of, if John Jones is willing to fight, I mean, these are your candidates you're looking at. I would say Thiago Santos at this point looks as viable as any next contender, but with Johnny Walker, I mean,
he's fantastic.
Johnny Walker, that's a highlight reel that I think it's going to, and Thiago Santos, like, realistically, those are the kinds of challengers you can build up, and just based on the clips that you have at your disposal. But I'm also not overselling Johnny Walker here against Misha Serkinov. Like, this is a real test for him. If he can beat a Misha Serkinov, I think this is a very, very big test for Johnny Walker. We shouldn't necessarily write off Serkinov.
Oh, you're right, 100%. I think it's a test for Misha Serkinov, too, because he really needs a win. He's had a couple rough outings against the likes of Ozdemir and Govert Teixeira. I think he needs to get on a win streak to really catapult his name even to getting on to main cards at this point. I had a lot of confidence that he would ascend to the top of the division, and that really hasn't happened yet. So I'm hoping he pulls it off. How
about Tyron Woodley and Kumar Usman?
I think that's a really difficult fight to call. We know how Woodley fights. We know what he's capable of. He has the best takedown defense in the UFC. His right hand could put anybody out. But I feel like we don't know everything about Kamaru Usman yet. He's been dominant. He's shown high-level wrestling, but what else does he have? we know his striking's okay. We've seen it against RDA, and sorry, I'm forgetting who he knocked out. I think it was 3 fights ago. But so there's something in there. But is that the same level of Tyron Woodley? Will he be able to like manage the timing and distance to get in like some success that Rory McDonald had? We'll find out. I would put my money on Woodley.
Yeah, I'm leaning Woodley in that fight as well. I think that I think this could be a very strategic fight that's probably going to go 5 rounds. I don't know if it's going to be the most exciting fight given the styles, but I do feel that Tyron Woodley, I just feel at this stage of his game just has more tools. But Usman, you're right. Like there's a lot of just unknowns about Usman because this is absolutely the toughest fight he has ever had. I think by a notable margin. Like with all due respect to where Damian Maia is, and even the RDA fight that he had, I feel that Woodley in 2019 is several steps above.
Yeah, of course. Woodley's the toughest fight for anybody at welterweight right now, with all due respect to the likes of Stephen Thompson or Colby Covington or even Rory McDonald.
Wait. What is the big fight you will be curious about on Sunday morning?
I mean, I think anytime John Jones gets in there, it's pretty interesting. You know, like it or not, he is maybe the best of this current generation. So I'll be very curious to see, you know, how he looks.
Hey, Eric, are 14-1 odds enough that you would throw some money on Anthony Smith, or is there absolutely no possible way Anthony Smith is pulling off an upset here?
Ooh, 14-1. I thought it was 7-1. 14-1.
I thought I heard that today. I'm not the odds maker, but I could have sworn I heard 14-1 odds today. But yeah, anyway, it's a lot to a little.
Word for it? I think I would.
What about 7-1 odds?
I think I would. I'm not giving him much of a chance, but with those odds, anything could happen. We saw Matt Serra beat George St. Pierre. Anything could happen.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for the call, Eric. It should be a really interesting card on Saturday night. Yeah. Minus 800 favorite is John Jones. It's a pretty wide gap between him and Anthony Smith. And yes, we will have a post show on Saturday night. Some of the other fights that are happening: Cody Garbrandt, he's coming off those 2 losses to TJ Dillashaw, take on Pedro Munoz. Diego Sanchez versus Mickey Gall. And Edmund Shabazian, who is managed by Ronda Rousey's fight management company, he's taking on Charles Byrd on the Fight Pass prelims.
What does that mean? She's an investor or what?
She's part of a management for, like, she runs a management company, so they just help support young and upcoming fighters. So he's one of their clients. We have another call here. Who is this calling in?
Hey, how you doing? Who's this?
It's John and Wai Ting.
How?
Oh, Christ. I just walked right into that one.
What's on your mind, Brandon?
Oh, my God. Brandon, are you going to make it?
You, man?
We're doing swell.
I'm great. I'm doing well, man. I'm excited.
I can tell.
I'm tickled pink. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Awesome.
Hey, wait. I was curious. How do you feel about Croton Gracie and his comments about the earth being flat? It's utterly ridiculous.
Crouton Gracie. Yeah. I
like the guy. I like the guy until he says this stupid shit. Come on, dude.
Man. Well, I know. Again, I'm a fan of his jiu-jitsu, but like as a person,
no doubt.
I really don't have that much opinion. It's ridiculous.
What was the quote? I mean, you can't say it's not the earth isn't flat unless you get into a rocket.
I mean, unless you're going to join Space Force, right?
Well, I actually looked into some of this stuff yesterday because, I mean, you know, we've kind of been through it in wrestling with AJ Styles as well, right? And actually a few more people. But it's not that.
Is it an alarming number?
It's that I would say 1 is an alarming number, but I think it's more so that they feel like somehow all of this is just a construction. I don't want to give him any press. It is, but I will say it's disappointing to hear any adult feel that way.
Well, some people can be right and other people can be wrong, Gracie.
Oh, what?
Oh no, he's gonna fall off his chair.
Broke him.
I broke him.
What else is on your mind?
I popped big for that one, John. I popped big for that one.
What else is on your mind, Brandon?
You popped the rating for that, John. Good job.
Do you have a lot of free time now since Jordan hasn't been regularly doing shows of late?
Yeah, what's up with that, man?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him lately. I don't know what his schedule is like.
No, I just work and listen to podcasts while I'm driving my truck.
What do you do? What's your job?
I'm a UPS overnight freight operation.
Oh, okay. We know actually another UPS driver who the person who gave us these wonderful Samoas.
Our man Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys get me through the night.
Wonderful. Well, that's what we're here for. Is that it? You just want to talk about flat earthers?
No, no. I mean, didn't China just land on the dark side of the moon so that you can see the Earth from there? I mean, come on, these guys are crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyrie Irving, pro wrestlers. Come on, get in it. Read a book.
Yeah.
You ever been down those rabbit holes on YouTube about flat earthers? It's crazy.
No,
I
don't have the flashlight capacity to go down those rabbit holes.
Alrighty, I think we.
I love this. Wayo would just be a shepherd's book. I love it. 14 to 1 odds. I would definitely take Anthony Smith flyer.
Am I wrong? Are those the odds? Is it 14 to 1 or am I exaggerating? I thought it was 14 to 1.
Yeah, I think some places are 14 to 1 and some are 7. I don't know. It's a mixed bag. It's a whole other kettle of fish. But yeah, I'd take a flyer. It's fun.
You know, you absolutely never say that there's no way a guy can win. I think that's very much how much would you put? I'd put 0. Like I would not.
Well, not you specific. Okay, how about you, Brandon? Because like to me, like if odds are that bad, I'm like, I think I would rather keep my $10. You know, even if it was a bet that was that low.
I mean, I mean, I'm like WCW's The Gambler. I put like a $10 Patreon donation on it.
All right. Okay, well, best of luck, man.
Okay, well, you call in next week, Brandon, when Anthony Smith is the new light heavyweight champion, and we're looking at Anthony Smith and Johnny Walker headlining a pay-per-view in 2019.
Oh my God! I think Dana White would be so. I think he would have a meltdown.
Thanks for.
I think he would have a meltdown like Rousey and Becky Lynch are having on Twitter right now.
Yes, we will get to that. All right. Thanks a lot for the call, Brandon.
I love you guys. I'm out of here.
We love you
Later,
too.
Brandon. Oh, man.
The best. Brandon from New Jersey.
I see. It's contagious. I want to start laughing like him too.
I should have been ready for that. Who is this? I still have this belief that like we are going to get wrong people calling in that don't know who we are. Let us continue. We're getting quite a lot of calls today. Who is up next?
Hello?
Yes, you're on the line with John and Wai. How are you?
It's Hansy.
Oh, wow. You sound much different, Hansy.
Yeah.
Is this a real Hansy or is this an impersonator?
Probably my Illuminati clone. I don't know.
Oh, that's you. That's you. I can hear you now. You feel like you have a different connection or something. You sound much clearer than usual.
I'm using. I normally have I have like 2 phones, so I'm using like probably the better one probably. So this is probably why I sound all clear.
Hansy, are you admitting on the air that you use a burner? Do you have a burner phone?
No, I don't have a burner phone. I got a new phone, but the older phone, I didn't want to just throw it out, right? So I still use that to like browse the internet or use like YouTube and all of that, right? So I normally call on the Google Hangouts, and I decided to use my actual phone this time.
Hansy, is the Earth round?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm not one of those I'm a conspiracy guy, but
I know.
I'm not like on that level of conspiracy. I think that's like a disinformation thing. I think like they kind of put that out there. So like, I just hate that flat Earth movement. I don't know how that one got started. I hate that one so much.
All right, I probably shouldn't push it forward and keep discussing it. But what did you want to chat about today?
I got 2 things. With the Kofi Kingston thing, I thought it was well executed. Getting him out of the match, right? Like I was legit pissed off about it, right? So I guess it worked. But my question to you guys is, do you think for like the next 2 weeks he shouldn't be on television? Because I kind of hated, like, even though he was like more upset than you, like he wasn't like all happy later on when he came up for the tag match.
Mm-hmm.
I just hate that he's gonna go back to like being like the super positive the next couple of weeks until maybe he does something, right? And that's always been my critique of the New Day. Whenever like I never been able to buy into some of their feuds, even though like they're good characters and everything like that. I always feel like whenever they get attacked by somebody, next week they'll come out all happy, and I despise that so much. I always thought that they should transition from being kind of borderline comedy to actually being serious. And if this is like a way to get them to become a lot more serious, I don't have a problem with it. But my question to you guys, do you think for the next couple of weeks he should kind of be off TV and we don't see him, or do you think they should still have a presence towards the build for this?
Well, I think that you don't want to forget about Kofi. I think that there's a way to balance that. It almost like I don't even know how you would utilize him at Fastlane. Certainly there's a way to incorporate him, but you're right. Like you need to have the audience still wanting to see Kofi Kingston prevail in all of this.
Yeah. In the end, he is your main character.
Yeah.
But much like we're seeing now with Becky Lynch, like they can only suspend so many people, right? That, because they have a pay-per-view coming up.
Or arrest them.
Or arrest them. I think the trick is to keep Kofi Kingston in the back of everybody's minds, continue to heat him up, even though I think everybody already wants it, but to keep him, like fighting. And I think, Hanzu, you're absolutely right. I don't necessarily want to see the pancakes. I don't really want to let's take a break from the unicorns for a little bit and have him appear to be a little bit more pissed off. I think you have to keep giving him strong wins over people so that, it's undeniable that he is the person for this role at WrestleMania. I think he continues to campaign for Kofi Mania along with the rest of the New Day and just build to that ultimate reaction when he actually gets that shot.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. The next question, and I'll let some other people come on. I don't want to take up all your time. With this Batista and Triple H stuff, I mean, listen, I know they planted the seeds back at SmackDown 1000, and I'm not saying that like the build can be good. I actually liked what happened on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, like, I always subscribe to what like you guys have said on your podcast for years. That Triple H isn't exactly the best guy. Like, I know he'll get cheered being a good guy at times and all that, especially with his NXT stuff. But you guys are the ones who kind of convinced me that I used to like think he was like a decent good guy, but the guy doesn't have any redeemable qualities as a good guy to me. Like I think he's such a dick that like you know what I mean. Like I'm glad Batista is a heel because Batista is a really good heel. But do you think this should have been for something else? Like, do you think someone else will step in, or do you think this really goes with Triple H and Batista? Because I just don't really buy Triple H as the good guy in all this. I like you guys have convinced me of that. Like, you know what I mean? So like I mean, from the past, you guys have always kind of made it clear that Triple H isn't really the best good guy because the guy just buries people or like even on the microphone. So I'm just wondering what you guys think of that. Do you think the roles are kind of messed up for this, or are you guys excited for what's going to happen with this feud?
I feel much of this is down to what Batista probably wants, and I think he probably gets a much better kick out of playing a heel. He seems to have a lot more fun doing it, and certainly when you remember his last run coming in as a babyface, that wasn't necessarily met with a ton of favor from the crowd. So I think it's probably his choice, and I think to sacrifice what might be a bit more of a tepid reaction for a Triple H babyface run, you're going to see a spectacular Dave Batista heel character. It's going to be a challenge, that's for sure. But Triple H, the general manager on NXT or whatever he is on NXT, he's a great babyface. But Triple H, the wrestler, we're so used to seeing, and Triple H, I guess, the authority figure on Raw, we're so used to seeing being a heel that it definitely will take a lot more convincing.
Yeah, I think in this run-up, he's very much going to be playing NXT Paul. And I think my issues with him as a babyface back in the day were more so just that I didn't feel it was, I thought it was very difficult to get heat on this guy because he typically was larger than the baby faces. And it was a harder character to get sympathy on because he was such a no nonsense heel that was always presented as, this giant, the big bodybuilder that was just tearing down all the baby faces, that it became hard then to get sympathy on him. It just was more effective as a heel. I don't think that this, I like the angle a lot on Monday, and I think the buildup is going to be, it's going to be one of the major programs for WrestleMania. So I think it'll be very good. But I was thinking over the past few days of just something that I don't even know if it would be better. It would just be different, and it would be with someone active. Is that I wouldn't have done it this past week. You have the return this past week, and then next week you do a thing in the ring with Roman and Seth Rollins, and that's coming off of this week, and we do the exact same angle, but it's Batista dragging the cameraman, and it's Dean Ambrose that he is just destroying. And that is, it's the unofficial reunion, because you see the sympathy or the concern Roman and Seth have that he has, even though there's this fracturing of the relationship, Batista has taken out their brother. And it's Batista Roman is the WrestleMania match that at least it's an active guy that, you know, Hunter is going to have his Hunter program at WrestleMania, but I don't have a great answer for Roman's role at WrestleMania. Maybe they have a phenomenal idea, but that was just an idea that came to me that you still get that's the reason that the Shield comes back together, is that here they are pressed. And at the end of the day, they have this brotherhood amongst each other. And it's a way that it kind of writes off Dean as well. Like, he is victimized by Batista, and Batista has his program with Reigns.
Yeah, no, I see agree with you, because Mark Henry on Busted Open, he actually presented that idea as well, that maybe Triple H isn't the guy. Maybe Roman Reigns is the guy, because I mean, Roman Reigns is not going to get booed anytime soon. Everyone loves the guy now. So I think that would actually be, I wouldn't mind that program, because I'm always of the belief, even if I don't think Roman Reigns should be getting overly pushed sometimes, I'm of the belief that I would rather have a current guy get put over by someone who is a part-timer. So I wouldn't mind that either if Roman Reigns was the guy to face Batista. I wouldn't mind that program to happen whatsoever.
Yeah. But again, it's like this is the program Batista has wanted. Like, that was the reason he was coming back to work with Hunter. And it's not a bad direction. It's going to be a big match, and you're right. It's just, I'm very curious what Roman ends up with at WrestleMania, because I don't think there's that obvious program. We got to run, Hansi, but thank you very much for the questions.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, Hansi.
Yeah, I think it's
as a natural babyface and a natural heel, I think those two mesh really well. Yeah. But something tells me that, you know, they want to get Hunter on Mania, and I think Roman.
I think Batista is going to be awesome in this run up to WrestleMania. I thought he was great on Monday, and I think he's going to be great in the lead up.
I'm really curious to see what type of explanation he's going to give for attacking Ric Flair. And maybe do we get a Randy Orton?
Get invited to the birthday party?
Do we get Randy Orton involved in any way? Maybe in the lead up to or after WrestleMania?
Maybe for a week.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
And do you think Batista sticks around after WrestleMania? Because he could potentially do a Roman Reigns program after that, or anything else.
Yeah, it's a good question.
He did last time.
I don't see it being long. Like, he has a bunch of projects this year.
Right.
He's got Dune. I think he's got like 2 or 3 movies, and you also have Endgame coming out that he's going to be probably promoting.
Yeah, I wonder how much. He's not going to be in the movie. I guess he might be in the end of the movie, but I don't think he'll be as part of.
Is he not good?
Well, he was one of the dusted ones.
Oh, right? That's right. Yeah. So didn't he film stuff for Endgame or no?
Yeah. I'm assuming, at the end everybody comes back.
Wow.
So
regardless, I mean, he is that Dune project coming up. I mean, if he is going to be continuing, I think it'd be a very short term after WrestleMania.
Sure.
All right, we go back to the phone lines. Who is this calling in?
Hey, guys. Paul from New Jersey.
Hey, Paul. How are you?
What's up, Paul?
Doing great. Good to talk to you guys. First, I got to say, Brandon might have been my favorite call of post-wrestling so far.
I feel he's going to be the most polarizing caller that we get.
Man.
Oh, man. And Hansi's a man, so I'll try to do my best here. I just wanted to do 2 quick stories. Since the Honky Tonk Man is going in the Hall of Fame, my 2 favorite moments of him was, one was, I think it was SummerSlam 88. Him and Dusty were facing each other, and before they'd even touched, before the bell had even rung, the place was going crazy. And I'm like, man, like, as a performer, that must be like the zenith. Like, I think we saw it with Sami Zayn and Nakamura a couple of years ago, where these guys have not even locked up, have not even done anything, and the place is losing its mind. And I just have to think, like, as a performer, that must be the greatest feeling in the world. And
that's also the first comparison ever between Nakamura and the Honky Tonk Man I think I've ever heard. But yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah, it's crazy how that could happen. I'll try to do this one justice, but if I can, if you guys just YouTube Luke Gallows and Honky Tonk Man, it'll come up. It is my favorite, like, shoot/ref.
I know the story. I know the story that you're telling me.
It's Yeah, it's so like Hockey Talk Man strikes me as one of those guys. And
Is this where they're at? They're at catering or something like that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I know the story.
Is that like a yeah? Is it cool if I tell it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Yeah, it was like a post WrestleMania, like catering thing, and yeah, like Hockey Talk Man to me is like he doesn't realize how hilarious he is. He's like one of those people in life who's unintentionally funny and doesn't even know it. But I guess like when Gallows was Festus and I think Kurt Hawkins, they had went over to speak to the Hockey Talk Man, and he is just like in a crowded area of wrestlers shooting on like everybody. And so they're like, man, maybe we should get up here because this is a little uncomfortable. But there's a sushi tower, and Hawkins and Gallows are goading him, and he goes, man, what a great spread here, Hawk. And Honky Talk Man just looks at him and goes, it's coming out of your check, you fucking mark. And Kurt Hawkins and Luke Gallows just lose it for like a minute and a half. And I always loved that story. But yeah, much deserved. I really think say what you want about the Hockey Talk Man, but I had a lot of heat back in the day, and it's the Hall of Fame, so I put everyone in. But I look forward to it. I'm curious to see what his speech will be like.
Yeah, the goal is entertaining speeches, and I'm sure he'll have one. So that's
definitely.
That should be one of the things to look out for at the Hall of Fame. But thanks a lot for the call, Paul, and sharing the story. It's a very good one.
Thanks for taking my call, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Before we get out of here, PW Insider reporting Madison Rayne has been let go by Ring of Honor. I can also say Impact, they're coming back to Toronto with the pay-per-view on April 28th. They're going to be doing television tapings on the Monday night after the pay-per-view at the Rebel. We mentioned David Finlay. He's out of the New Japan Cup due to the shoulder injury. They have still not announced a replacement yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who they're going to throw in there because during this tour, Ring of Honor has their pay-per-view. So it's not like you can just pluck a ROH guy that's probably figured into the pay-per-view. Maybe it's going to end up being like one of the young lions or just, somebody that is unaccounted for.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, rather than them going to the outside to pick somebody else, I mean, I think they have a lot.
I think it's just going to be somebody that's,
yeah.
I mean, I think Finlay would have gone over Tenzon, and like, I don't think if it's like Ren Narita, I don't see Ren Narita beating Tenzon. So it might change some of the booking of the tournament, but this is not as complex as the G1 to have a replacement and move on. New Japan also announcing several things. First of all, tickets for the American Airlines G1 show in Dallas go on sale March the 13th, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and they will be ranging from $50 to $300.
Okay. What do you think of the prices?
I think that they're smart to be pricing it in that range.
For a proper G1 show, I think it's justified.
Yeah, it's not so wild that I think they'll have. I don't think price will be a problem. It's going to be how many people are interested in traveling to this show, and yeah, on a show that you're without the elite.
Do we get a sellout? It'll be really interesting to see what the draw is right now without Kenny and without the Bucks. And
American Airlines Center is big.
How big?
I think it can hold like 18.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
I believe.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what the attendance is.
And they've also announced they have secured the visas for their Japanese talent to come to the U.S.
They made a whole
they had a separate post for it that hey, don't worry, we got our visas
worked out.
What else do we have here? Walter and Trent Seven announced for the they're going to unify the Progress World and Atlas titles May the 5th. That's on the second day of the Super Strong Style 16 event in London. B. Priestley has joined AEW as they announced in the latest Road to Double or Nothing video. MLW is going to be doing a live 2-hour special on the Friday night on BN Sports, which will be their second night at the Melrose Ballroom with the Battle Riot Battle Royal. So they haven't announced the time slot, but they're pretty much going to be going head to head with TakeOver with a 2-hour slot.
I mean, they don't really have much, choice against that, do they? With WrestleMania.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is like they're adding this to their they're now on the Saturday night, and they're going to do this 2-hour special on the Friday night.
I mean, right? Yeah, I guess there just aren't so many open spaces right now to fit your shows in.
Yeah, I mean, it gives people an added way to watch it if that's something. And listen, with NXT on demand, it's like, yep, I think that, and Fight TV is airing a bunch of these different events. You can actually, I think it's like $120 and you get something like 20 plus events. And that includes the ROH pay-per-view. It includes Impact's pay-per-view. Impact is just going to be on Fight now. It's not going to be streaming on Twitch any longer.
Oh, okay.
So you do have to pay through Fight to get that event, which is shaping up to be an interesting card. Impact's put some interesting stuff onto that card. And that is about it on the news front.
All right.
What are you doing this weekend?
This weekend? Jesus. I don't know.
Are you ready for your vacation? It's coming up soon.
Yeah, I think I'm maybe doing some preparation for that. This weekend I'm going back to visit my parents for a bit and maybe doing other prep for our ice cap stuff.
Oh, well, that sounds like
so
a
exciting.
very busy one.
Yeah.
Well, Wai, if you are free, and if you are free, you're invited to come over and watch the UFC pay-per-view on Saturday night. This place will be open for your presence if you so choose. I will watch the whole show with an empty chair next to it, and I'll put your name tag on it.
I always appreciate the invite. I might not always accept it, but I always appreciate the invite. So
that is code for thanks, but I'm not going to be coming over on Saturday.
But
the invite has been made.
Because I'll be over the next week, John.
The next week,
as we've just learned. As I've just learned, you will be having a birthday party.
Oh, that's true. Oh, you'll be coming over multiple times because Fastlane is next weekend as well.
Yeah.
So, lots of stuff coming up. Once again, you can join our New Japan Cup contest.
Yep. Postwrestling.com/NJ Cup, or you can go up to the website and find the button right there. As well, as we mentioned, we are going to have a selfie contest. Tell us in 30 seconds why you want to face Jay White at Madison Square Garden, and you could win tickets to the G1 Supercard during WrestleMania weekend. So please only apply if you are actually going to be down in New York during WrestleMania weekend, the first, April 6th?
Yes.
April 6th, 2019. And next week, we will play your entries with Joe LeBeau, who will help us pick a winner.
Yes. And final note, once again, me and Wai, we are doing our live show WrestleMania weekend, Sunday, April the 7th, noon at the Broadway Comedy Club. We have just added a 1-hour meet and greet at 11 a.m. So if you want to come for the Q&A, it's at noon, and you'll have 2 chances for the meet and greet. You can come at 11 a.m. or you can stick around after the show from 1:30 till 2:30 and then get off to head to WrestleMania later that night.
And every ticket gets you into the meet and greet for free. So
yes,
for the price of the ticket is what I mean.
So tickets are available postwrestling.com/live. Tickets are going for $25, $20 if you are a patron on the Post Wrestling Cafe. And we've got a new edition of Up Next. I'm on the show this week with Braden Harrington. And then Friday, Wai and I are back on the cafe with reviews of both Raw and Nitro from July 13th, 1998.
Yeah, John's got Nitro, I've got Raw, and we will talk about
who won and who lost
during the thick of the Monday Night War. So it was actually a really interesting review. We just did it, so hopefully you all like it.
Check it out. Great show. And thank you to all the callers today. This was one where I didn't know what the caller response would be like, and we got quite a lot of calls. We were full of them for the entire show, and you can catch this each and every week, Thursdays, 3 p.m. Eastern time here on the Café Hangout.
Yeah, that's about it. Sorry, my brain scrambled today.
Goodbye.